Hi everyone, welcome to my live tonight. I'm going to be chatting with Michael van Clarke, and we're going to be talking about all things to do with menopausal hair and some of the issues with thinning and things like that. So hopefully he will be coming on shortly. So hi to everyone for joining me. Sorry about the reflection of the ring light in my glasses. So if you've got any questions, just send them to me. Okay. Let's see if we can get... Okay, hopefully he'll be coming up in a minute. Waiting. Hi everybody. Ciao. Hello.
Abby, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, and how are you?
Yes, not too bad. Still at the salon?
Yes, we are, actually. It's all quiet now. Everyone's gone.
Yeah,
We have the place to ourselves.
fantastic. So, just to make it clear, is that I've been using your products for quite some time. They initially, obviously, you've been using products to me, as well as I've had some lovely salon visits. I've had one recently, which I'll talk about later. But just to say that I absolutely rate your products. It's
Thank you.
completely transformed and looked after my hair over the last probably couple of years. And so, you know, what we're talking about tonight is the effects of menopause and perimenopause on hair, and particularly things like hair thinning. And obviously, you're the expert in these things, and so can hopefully give lots of great advice and sort of help people to realise that actually it's not the worst thing in the world, and it will get better.
Yes, yes. Well, over the years, I've lived with my clients and friends, partners, felt and touched the hair going through perimenopause and menopause, and it is very upsetting. Our hair is so important to us, and for some women, they can lose quite a great proportion of their hair during this period. And for my advice is to firstly understand that it's temporary. It's not something that's permanent, and the hair will be going through cycles. But also to make the most of the hair that you have, and that may involve different hairstyles, treating the hair in a different way.
Yeah. So I think probably the one product I would say for me, so that some of the things I've gone through that I've noticed, firstly, it's the hair thinning, which obviously
Yes.
and I think the secondly is the condition of my hair. So it became, from being really nice and shiny and full, it became really dull and lifeless and absolutely lacking in any moisture. But I'll show this. So this
Yes.
has been my absolute saviour, and
Mm.
it's wash treatment.
Yeah, it's become our bestseller, that product.
I can see why, actually, because I probably use it before. I used to use it sort of once or twice a week, but now I use it pretty much before before every wash. I leave it on overnight, and it just makes your hair full of moisture. It makes it bouncy, and it brings shine back. So I can't rate that highly enough, actually. But the other thing that I think has been fantastic is using the right tools for your hair.
Yes.
So all your brushes, which you actually use in the salon as well,
Yes.
particularly this one for obviously styling. So all these brushes prevent breakage.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the equipment sold for hair, I don't really think it's designed by hairdressers. I think some of the brushes are designed by people that perhaps design floor brushes, clothes brushes. They're not. It's not the same thing. It's not just a case of putting bristles on a stick. Even with combs, most combs are made of plastic, which means that they are generally molded into halves and then sandwiched together. That tends to leave lots of pieces on the center that can tear the hair. So it's not a smooth finish. So our combs are made from hard rubber, and they're sawn in one piece. So they're actually a molded piece that then the teeth are sawn out by hand and polished. So that's how combs were made traditionally, whether they were made of bone or ivory. You know, here's one of the combs that you showed. But it's just very important that those teeth are smooth and gentle on the hair and scalp. You know, just little things like that. People inadvertently cause a lot of stress to their own hair.
Yeah.
And I think when people get a shock of losing a lot of hair in a short period of time, you know, yes, it's a problem, but often a bigger problem is how they're treating the hair that they still have.
Yeah.
And that can result in far more loss of mass than losing 10 or 10% of the hair at the root temporarily.
Yeah. And you don't use, you're very careful, because I was told off at the salon because I said I use the nozzle on my hair dryer, which is something.
Again, it's actually something that hairdressers do as well, but it's actually often totally unnecessary to use a nozzle. I think some hairdressers think it helps them guide the dryer, but if you pay attention, you don't need something to tell you that the dryer is pointing at the hair and it is across the hair. But what the nozzle does, it concentrates the heat by a factor of 3 or 4 times on that piece of hair. And hair is very vulnerable to over drying.
Yeah.
And if you've got the heat at that level, it's very easy to over dry. In fact, it's almost certain that you're going to over dry hair, because you get to the point where all the water's taken out and you're still drying the hair, and then it becomes over dry. And it's these dehydration moments that weaken hair so much. Hair is quite a delicate material, very tough, but it's very sensitive to moisture. It's around about 97% protein and 3% water. And as with our skin and our bones, if you take the water out, it becomes brittle. And with hair, when it becomes brittle, as it moves around, it breaks down inside. I think people understand the word bonds with hair a bit more now. So those bonds break down because they don't have the flexibility that water gives it. So if hair's constantly going through dehydration moments, it will break down inside, and that's why you end up with hair that's very thin at the ends, even though at the root it's much, much thicker.
Right. Okay. So in terms of, obviously, that we're talking about actually looking after what's currently on your head, and that can be done with using the right hair products, the right tools. But something that I was completely unaware of until, obviously, I've done a whole lot of research about hair. You know, when you start to lose it, then you start to really kind of think about it, is the fact that the health of your scalp is something that can potentially help new hair regrow.
Yes, no, most certainly. And if you imagine the scalp as an extension of the skin on your face, it's very easy to forget about it because it's under the hair. But you would notice if you didn't exfoliate your face and it just built up with oils and sebum, pollution, if you were using aggressive products on your face for styling and things. Those can clog the pores on the scalp. And if the follicles become clogged, it impacts the growth of the hair. So the hair growth can weaken, and in extreme cases can fall as well if you're suffocating the follicles. So keeping the scalp clean and free to breathe is very important for healthy hair as well.
Because you also advocate massaging your scalp, don't you? So when you on your products, it says that
Yes.
You really need to kind of it's quite a firm massage, isn't it? To get is it blood flowing?
Yeah, regular massage is very good for the scalp, and it's actually a very pleasant experience. But I think often people feel when they're tense and stressed that their scalp tightens. And this is to do with the muscles at the back of the neck going up to the scalp. If the scalp tightens, then it restricts the blood flow.
Yeah.
And the blood coming to the hair follicles is all about bringing nutrients and oxygen and taking away toxins. So if you interfere with that process of cleansing and feeding the scalp, then the hair follicles suffer. So regular massage that brings blood supply to the scalp, is a great thing to do.
Because actually it's something that you do at the salon, isn't it? So I went to I had a lovely treatment with Simona uh,
Yes.
last week, and I had the most wonderful both scalp and neck massage. So it's kind of the full thing, and it's super relaxing.
Yeah, and very therapeutic.
Yes, but so the next product that I want to talk about, which is this a new product or is this something that you've always had? Because this is something that was a salon treatment. Obviously, you can use at home as well, but this is a scalp treatment, isn't it?
Yeah, I have one here. So we had professional scalp products. This is probably about 18 months, 2 years now that we've had this available for the consumer, and it's actually easy to use at home as well because it has this nozzle. But this is just a lovely exfoliating treatment. So it's good for the scalp. It uses natural AHAs to dissolve, build up, and cleanse the scalp,
It's
and
got
strengthen the hair as well.
yeah, and it gives a real lovely when you've got it on, your whole scalp feels really lovely. It's kind of a nice tingling sensation.
Yeah, it's lovely. And then we have clients, if I have a new client come in and you can see they have scalp conditions that they're not dealing with, even just one treatment, it's amazing how much it just cleanses that
Yeah.
build up away. That's a great product.
So in terms of kind of, I think it was a question I asked you as well, is that if you have suffered from hair thinning or hair loss, whether it's perimenopause or menopause, or stress even, is it likely to grow back?
Yes, it's unlikely not to, but I think you have to appreciate that there's a cycle in the hair growth, and the cycle of hair growth on your head is an average of 5 years. So that's not true for the hairs on the hairline, which may have a shorter hair cycle of 3, 4, 5 months. But generally on your head, it's around about 5 years, somewhere between 2 years, 7 years. Some people can grow their hair much longer. But during that cycle, which peaks at around about the age 20, and that's your best hair, the hair will grow, fall, rest for 3 months, grow again. So each time that cycle goes through, every 5 years, let's say on average, the hair will grow back very slightly thinner, and it may be for a slightly shorter cycle. And so those are the cycles through your life that the hair has. You're not going to have the same hair at 80 that you have at 18.
Yeah.
It's likely to be weaker hair, but it's not a straight line to 80. And along the way, there are these, spikes and troughs, many of them hormonal, whether it be through pregnancy or menopause, that will shift hair, along that curve. So more will fall out and then it will recover, more will fall out, then it will recover. But if you have a very long extended perimenopause, menopause that, maybe several years, it will recover, but it's not necessarily going to recover to exactly how it was, because you're maybe 5 years further along in your life, maybe 10 years further along.
And it's happening for some time, isn't it? So I think I was probably having a different growth cycle in my hair for some time, and then you suddenly feel all of a sudden your hair's become thinner, and you put your pony
Yes.
up, and it's not as thick as it was. But I guess actually the thinning process has started some time before.
Earlier.
Yeah.
It can take time to notice that, depending on the hair and the hairstyle, they say women can lose up to 40-50% of their hair before they suddenly notice it's a problem. That's quite extreme, 50%. It's unlikely anyone will lose that much during a menopause period, but for some it may be true. But
Yeah.
for most it may be 20-30%. The problem is a lot of it may be around the hairline here.
Yeah. So that's where
And that
all hair is all fine hair.
yeah, it's harder to escape that, and that's where it's often good to look at the hairstyle, because a hairstyle that worked when you were 18, when the hair's a different texture and a different thickness, isn't necessarily the best hairstyle as you're moving through your 40s or your 50s.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people kind of, I mean, I love long hair. Um, People say, oh, you know, you're better to go off shorter. If your hair's thinning, you should go for a shorter style. Is that something that?
No, yeah, not necessarily. That's a little bit too simplistic.
Right.
You know, very much it's about the line of the hair at the bottom, the outline. You know, certain outlines that work on thick, young, fluid hair. Or, you know, a lot of people will have this A line going down to a point at the front where the back is square,
Yeah.
shorter. Well, if you've got enough hair and the hair is just smooth and silky, that can be fine. But when your hair starts to weaken, having the tips of your hair at the front being the longest part and from the weakest hair is going to make the whole lot look like it's really thin.
Yeah.
And it may not be. So just changing the line of the haircut can make someone's hair look twice as thick. Just that.
Wow.
So that's not necessarily about shorter. It's about looking at the line that the haircut is. And then also around the face here. You know, it may have worked to have hair very flat and heavy around the eyes when you were younger. It's not necessarily going to work as you get older and the hair gets thinner around the face. It may be better to lift it a little, graduate a little, or perhaps even have a fuller fringe if the hair has thinned out a lot.
Yeah. And in terms of, I also know the things that I think you have supplements as well.
Yes,
So
yes.
the external treatments, but you know, there's things you can take.
Yeah, we have great supplements. They're actually award-winning supplements, and I take them myself. I have done for years. They're called Power Shot Nutrients. And whilst I would say these aren't a replacement for a balanced diet, I do think for many people they don't get all the nutrients and minerals that they need. So it's an easy supplement. I have two with breakfast. It's just become normal for me. I don't have to think about it, and
Yeah.
you know that will support the B vitamins, zinc, iron, L-lysine and biotin, and all those things that actually we know support good hair growth. And the important thing about nutrients is that, and it's a problem with a lot of nutrients out there, is that they're not using a source of those vitamins or minerals that the body absorbs. And so it can read very well on the label, but most of that stuff just passes through you because they're not bioavailable to the metabolism. So in here, every single element that's used is in the most bioavailable form known to science to ensure that what you're taking has the best chance of the body absorbing and taking on.
Yeah. So I think we've pretty much covered almost every topic, haven't we? Of kind of.
That's it. Hair through the menopause in a nutshell.
Yeah. Very quickly. So I've been given very kindly. We've got a code, Abby Loves Style 15, which gives 15% off for the next 24 hours, so until 8 o'clock tomorrow, I think.
Right, that's right.
So I will put a link on.
Great.
Anybody's got any more questions about hair, then we can pass them your way, and I'll do my best to answer as many as possible. But I'll also put this live up as well, so that if you didn't manage to see it tonight, then you can look at it over the next however many hours it goes up. But that's been really useful. Actually, I just want one more product actually. that this one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So making your hair look thicker. So this is a blow dry solution, isn't it? Which you just put kind of
thicker, quicker.
Not right to the roots, but just sort of there, isn't it?
Well, it's on the roots. It's really at the roots, the first 2 or 3 inches, where most people's hair is very soft and floppy. You know, so people may have body through the mid-lengths and the ends of their hair, which has more texture, but the roots for a lot of people are silky smooth and floppy. So the thicker, quicker is a texturizer and thickener.
Yeah.
So what that does, it will give the hair more grip. It will keep it flexible. The problem with a lot of these types of products is that they make the hair feel not very nice.
Yes.
You know,
I found
either
with
brittle or sticky, and that's not what you want from your hair. So
no,
what's great about this is that it just feels like thicker hair, but natural hair, and has a shine and has flexibility, and
I
that's
said
what's really
I
important.
see it from here, the shine on my hair. So
Yeah,
that was not there at all. Um, it is. It's just, you know, I have to say that your lifesaver is proper lifesaver.
yeah.
It's a fantastic product, and it's, as I say, it's just made my hair, all really looked after my hair.
I
So
think for all of our products, it's and you know they're designed initially for us as professionals. It's what we want to use, and for
yeah,
all of them, it's about taking people's hair to a better place, but natural. You know,
yeah,
people don't want to have their hair look like it's full of product, or that it doesn't move, or that it
yeah,
looks unnatural. They just want it to be either less frizzy or thicker, smoother, shinier, healthier. You know, most people want the same thing. And so the products are about taking them to that ideal place.
yeah. So it is, your hair is a big, and you know, especially for women, it's such an important thing for us.
And for men.
Well, yeah. Sorry. Out there. But yes, well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. As I say, if anybody's got any questions about hair and menopausal hair, then fire away to me, and I'll try and get them answered through yourself. And then I'll put I'll put the code up after we've finished talking. But thank you so much for taking the time out.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Hope to see you in the salon soon.
Lovely. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.